Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name's Josh Smith. I'm the founder of Aligner Marketing. And today I want to talk about a concept that honestly doesn't get talked about enough in dentistry, but I feel like it's something that every practice owner needs to understand if you are tired, capped, or frustrated with the traditional model of dentistry. And that concept is leverage dentistry. Now, you've probably heard versions of this before. People talk stepping back. They talk about not being in the chair as much. They talk about having your practice work for you instead of the other way around. But it's usually just said without ever explaining what has to be built for that to actually happen. And that is what I'm going to cover today. So what exactly does leverage mean? Leverage simply means using systems, people, and processes to grow your business without requiring more of your personal time, energy, or chair hours. Simple as that. In most industries, leverage is quite obvious. However, in dentistry, it's not, because most were trained to believe one thing, that more production equals more effort equals more chair time. So if you want to make more money, the assumption is that you take on more hours, you take on more patients, and you ultimately take on more stress. That's the traditional model of dentistry. However, a lot of dentists get to a point where they begin to question that model. Now, most general dentists are operating in what I call non-leverage dentistry, right? And in that model, you are the main producer, you are the bottleneck, and your income is tied directly to how many hours you're physically in the chair. So if you get sick, if you want to take a vacation, or if you simply want to slow down a bit, production either drops or it stops completely, because there's a ceiling. And once you hit that ceiling, the only way forward is burnout. Now, what makes this worse is that from the outside, these types of practices often look successful: good collections, busy schedule, strong reputation. But behind the scenes, the doctor is exhausted, they're stressed, and trapped inside of the business that they built. That's non-leverage dentistry. So what is leverage dentistry? Leverage dentistry is when the practice grows without requiring more of you. More revenue without more chair time, more production without more stress, and more freedom without sacrificing quality or ethics. Leverage dentistry does not mean that you stop caring. It doesn't mean that you stop being clinical, and it doesn't mean that you cut corners either. What it means is that you stop being the only thing holding the practice together. So here's an easy way to think about it. In non-leverage dentistry, you are the engine, right? And in leverage dentistry, you build the engine and then you step back and drive. Now, what actually creates leverage in a GP office? It's not one thing by itself. It's actually a combination of multiple different pieces working together. And that engine is made up of very specific things like a trained, confident team, clear systems and workflows, a defined patient journey, a consult process that doesn't rely on the doctor selling, simple, clean pricing, follow-up that happens without you chasing, associate doctors who are set up to succeed, at least one premium scalable service that can grow without requiring more of the doctor's chair time, and marketing that attracts the right patients and not just more patients. So for some practices, that might be clear aligners. For others, it could be implants, veneers, airway, or sleep-related dentistry. The service itself matters less than how scalable it is. If it can be systemized, if the team can handle most of the process, and if the doctor is mainly overseeing, diagnosing, and approving, then it fits inside of a leverage model. And when all of those pieces are built together, growth becomes predictable, and more importantly, it becomes sustainable. You're no longer solving the same problems every single day. You're no longer the answer to everything, and the practice stops feeling fragile. Now, the reality that no one ever talks about is that general dentists often have more leverage available to them than almost any other specialty. Okay, because you treat a broad patient base, you see people regularly, you offer services that are in high demand and are high margin, but most GPs will never fully unlock that leverage because they're stuck in the mindset of, well, if I'm not doing it, it won't get done right. Leverage dentistry requires a shift, and that shift is going from doing everything to building things that work without you. And once that shift happens, everything else is going to change. It's going to shift into place. Your income becomes less tied to your hours, your stress starts to drop, your schedule opens up, and the practice finally starts to feel like a business and not just a job that you own. So to close things out, if you are a GP who feels capped, if you're busy but tired, if you're producing well but you're wondering, is this it? The answer isn't more hustle, it's more leverage. Okay. And leverage dentistry isn't about stepping away from your practice. It's about building it in a way that supports you instead of consuming you. So that's about everything. If you found this video useful, please like, comment, subscribe, share it with someone you think might find it useful, and I'll catch you in the next one.